Hey everybody, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? Horizon MMORPG? Question mark. All right, this episode is brought to you by your mom. Tell her we said hi. So, there is rumors going around. Horizon MMORPG is now essentially confirmed. Essentially. And confirmed to be in development. And it's developed under the codename Project Skyline, with the initial codename being Project H for your hemorrhoids. More details about this MMO, based on Gorilla Horizon's franchise, have popped up online in 2 new job listings. Video game researcher, and I hope I don't butcher this poor guy's name, Kurakasis, whatever, took to Twitter, not X, just Twitter, earlier today, and everything they know about the game, upcoming game, including a rumor that it will be an MMORPG. They also share details of job listings that seem to confirm that the game is in development and it may be called Land of Salvation. The game is seemingly coming to PC and mobile, and there's no mention of a PS5 on either job listings. And currently available online, it's being developed in an Unreal Engine 5. It is expected to launch significantly later than Aeon 2, which is anticipated to release in 24-25. It's a thought around 140 people are working on the game in September of last year. So this is a game that I'm pretty positive Pat's pants got a little tight when he heard about, because Pat is a huge Horizon fan. Me and Nick enjoy the games as well. So, because Pat's so passionate about it, Nick, what do you think about this story? Do you think this would be a good fit for an MMO?
You know what's more interesting about this story is that they're making Aeon 2. That's the interesting tidbit here.
I didn't know there was an Aeon 1.
I do, and I have the still case for it back there. I played a crap ton of Aeon. Loved that game back in the day, and so it's really nice to see they're making Aeon 2. But anyway, back to the substance. Do I think they're making a Horizon MMO? I mean, they pretty much said this confirms or somewhat confirms that it's in development or in the development stages. I do think that they probably are. Do I think it's going to see the light of day? That's another question. I don't know if this MMO will actually see the light of day. And that's because of, I don't know. I would say no to making a Horizon MMO. I would just say no. Just say no. Just like drugs. Just say no. Don't make a Horizon MMO. I think it works better as a single player action adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic world, with the dinosaur robots and stuff like that. Then it will, not to say that it couldn't translate to an MMO. I just think that might. MMOs are very strange in which they can either raise a brand up or they can really hurt a brand, right? It's one of the two things, right? It's never like an MMO is always a good idea. Sometimes it sounds good on paper, but when it comes out there, if the MMO sucks, and a lot of MMOs do, right? They have good ones, but there's a lot of MMOs out there that aren't that good, and based off a lot of different properties. And if you have something like Horizon MMO, that might diminish or hurt the Horizon property as a game because the MMO sucks so badly, right? Now, we don't know how the MMO is going to be. It could be really great. I have a problem with when they take properties like this and they try to convert them into an MMO. And it just doesn't seem to work in most cases. It just doesn't work out for it, right? They're better off being where they are. Like, I would love to see like a Resident Evil MMO, but would that be good for the franchise? Probably not, right? I would like to see a lot of games turn into MMOs because I want to have that massively multiplayer aspect of it. But again, is that going to be good for the franchise, for the property? Probably not, right? So it's really hard to create an MMO that really propels a property. Final Fantasy did it with 14. I mean, they screwed up at first, but then they reborn it. They put a Phoenix down on it, and it came back. It came back good. WoW, Blizzard, they did really good. It came back good. WoW, Blizzard did really good with World of Warcraft. I would have, at the time when it came out, it was cool, but I wasn't as big into Warcraft as I was like StarCraft and Diablo. So was I hoping for more of one of those becoming an MMO? Yes, and Diablo kind of has, in a sense, somewhat of an MMO, but World of Warcraft worked out. I mean, it's been going strong for them for a long time, but there's also been other MMOs like Neverwinter. Elder Scrolls did actually. Now Elder Scrolls is actually pretty good for them when it came to that, but it was kind of on the fence when it first came out. Who knew? But like Knights of the Old Republic, did kind of bad for it, right? It's still an MMO that's going on today, and it's not a super horrible bad MMO, but it's got, unless you pay a monthly subscription, it's got a lot of hindrance to it. But but that also prevented, in that sense, because that was BioWare doing it. Now this is NCSoft apparently that's going to be doing the Horizon MMO. That's the only good aspect to this, because if it was Guerrilla doing it, then that means when the Horizon, that means that we don't get a new Horizon game, right? They're going to sit here and work on this MMO, and then when it comes out, they're going to be supporting it, and we get nothing new. And that's what happens a lot when these developers do that. But if they're going to do anything with it, the most positive news from it, I think personally, is that they're having someone else create an MMO based off the property and not the actual developer.
So I did not mention, it does appear that it's NCSoft partnership.
Yeah.
So their resources ain't going to get used up. At least I wouldn't think all the resources. So.
Right. But it's also kind of weird too that this game wouldn't be developed for PS5. That it's only PC and mobile, especially from a property that Sony owns.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a partnership between Sony and NCSoft. So it not coming to PS5 makes zero sense.
Yeah. I would say which could mean differently, right? Just because they're not in job postings, it could mean that they're having a different group take on the responsibilities of the MMO internally for the console. And then NCSoft is handling the PC and mobile versions of the game, right? Sometimes they do that with MMOs where you have two different groups handling two different versions of the game, one for a console, one for PC or whatever, right? Maybe the case. Maybe one for mobile and then one for the PC side of things. Sometimes they have two different developers doing different things. So it could be that they have the people that do the console version, but they needed to find someone else for the PC mobile portion of it. But I don't know. Until we know more, I'm in two different camps here. I'm in the camp of I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm also in the camp of I'm not quite sure if I want a Horizon MMO. I'd rather just continue with more expansive single player MMO. And I hope if they are going to create a Horizon MMO that it doesn't take resources away from Guerrilla to be able to produce more Horizon games and all their focus is on a live service MMO, right, in the future. So what do you think, Pat?
You said one word in there that actually killed it completely for me, and that was PC and mobile. Anytime that I hear that they're designing something that's going to be on mobile, it means the PC version is going to suck ass because it's going to play like a mobile game. And I hate that.
Yep.
I absolutely freaking hate that. I mean, that was like the Diablo Immortals when it was on PC, and that I played it on PC, and I'm like, yep, this is a really shitty mobile interface on a PC. Click to move, click here to move. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way, guys. Click here to do this or push, and I'm like, yep, doesn't work that way. So that's the first thing that kind of killed it for me. you know, and I struggle with how they could turn Horizon into an MMO. I mean, because as Nick said, it's a single player experience where Aloy is the protagonist, and there really isn't like a whole lot of a class based system. I mean, there is some skill points, but at the same time, like how do you marry that into an MMO with classes and thing like that? You know, it I don't know. To me, that's going to be a really tough sale. Like to me, Horizon, I love Horizon because of the story element to it. The gameplay element's fun and it's cool, but to me, like the story and suspense element of the game, of like especially the Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game was like, what the hell happened? Why is the world degraded into mechanical robots? And they read about the Pharaoh plague and all that stuff, and I'm like, this is awesome and this is cool, and that finding all the little tidbits and learning more of the lore and the story is cool part to me. I don't honestly see a Horizon MMO working because, like I said, the mechanical dinosaurs and the mechanical creatures are cool and all, but what's that going to bring to an MMO? Is this going to be like another Arc game, you know, where it's just tribalism and that kind of stuff? I'm like, I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't care. So I struggle with seeing how this could be a good choice for an MMO. I like NC Soft. They make decent stuff. I really am surprised that Nick liked Aeon, because Aeon is a PvP heavy game. Like that's the whole core concept of the world. The light side and the dark side battling it in the in-between spaces, you know? Um, and I played that game too. So I owned it and played it. Not looking forward to Aeon 2. So, because it's all PvP based. I mean, it's very PvP focused. World PvP is like the main meat and potatoes of the game. There is some PvE end game content to it, but it's very skimpy compared to the PvP content. PvP content's like 80% of the game, you know, for the end game. Even leveling, there was some PvP stuff. I think they took the leveling PvP stuff out. But I mean, it was kind of an interesting concept. You're winged being, you know, you can somewhat glide fly. So, but on Horizon, I don't think it can work as an MMO, at least not in my opinion, because I don't know. It's like turning what am I thinking of? God of War into an MMO. How's that going to work? You know, in my opinion, that's what that's like. It's a story driven system that I don't think can work. You know, that's my opinion. I love Horizon. I'm a huge fan of it. I bought my PlayStation 3 because of Horizon Zero Dawn. And then when I got my PS5, the first game I looked forward to playing was the Forbidden West Horizon game. I bought DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn, which I never buy DLC for game, hardly. So, I really, you know, I don't. I want to play Call of the Mountain, but I can't bring myself to spend $500 $600 for a headset, you know, for VR. So, it doesn't have that much of a drive. At least I have some semblance of I don't have blinders on. Ooh, Horizon, I got to get it, you know? So I don't think the MMO's got a leg to stand on. I hope that's not real. I hope that they're not trying to turn that into an MMO. The world is interesting and cool, but at the same concept, I don't see how you could turn that into an MMO. I mean, the boss battles might be cool, right? You fight giant whatever, dino or mammoth, and shooting off parts and using the different types of stuff. But at the same time, the hero in the story we already all know is Aloy. It's not like in the story of the world that we know now, there's all these other protagonists. I guess you got Silas and a few of the other ones, but you know, I don't know. To me, it's a single player experience. Hard for me to visualize this as an MMO experience. But I mean, MMOs are big on you are the one, you're right, the savior, the hero, the champion. But we already know that's Aloy. So I'm confused on this one. I'm a loss. A part of me, I think the majority of me says, no way, don't do that. Don't ruin this. But there's a small sliver of me that goes, could this be interesting? Well, the majority of me says no. But what do you think, Shane? Are you ready for a Horizon MMO?
Yeah, on my PS5 or my console of anything or my computer, but never the damn phone.
I don't feel like MMOs do well on the console neither. If I'm being honest, any MMO that I've ever played on the console, like Elder Scrolls or whatever, I don't think plays well. I hate
See,
that.
I wouldn't disagree
to,
with that because you got the whole hotkey setup you can do on your PC, and that
and
does
point and
because
click
I've done
and targeting
Diablo.
and
Yeah, I've done Diablo on the console and the PC, and PC works better just for the aspect of controls alone. So, but far as Aloy goes, I would put the two worlds in different places between your description of God of War. I think the world of Horizon could work in an RPG setting, but I'm not a big RPG guy, or MMORPG. So I don't want to say yes, it would be great, but I mean, if you think about it, a group of guys, men and women, running, through and battling a giant robot T-Rex or a giant robot Velociraptor, running quests to find things like that in that world, I think could be interesting. Could. See, the problem with could is execution. Execution's always a big issue for things like this. But I do want to fall back real quick on something Nick said about a Resident Evil RPG, MMORPG. You sick bastard. No. How the hell would that work? I cannot see it whatsoever. Now, I love Resident Evil.
We're just talking about Horizon one. Come on now.
Yeah, but the world, because Horizon is in an open world.
Well, I could see a pack of guys, girls too.
Okay.
Running through the city, fighting zombies. They made a game similar to this called Outbreak.
Outbreak.
But so here's the thing.
That's not an MMORPG by any means. That's a multiplayer.
I mean, it could work.
It's going to be weird though, because as much as I hate to say this, NC Soft builds Korean style MMOs. They don't build Western style MMOs. Like, it's all grind fest, flashy combat with meat and potatoes is kind of not really there. It's all about flashy combat, mass mob gathering, and just grinding and grinding and grinding. To me, and this is, I mean, I've enjoyed some of them. They have their place, but you're taking something that is very Western RPG style and trying to mesh it with Korean MMO style. And Korean MMO is a style. It's very stylized combat and pretty and awesome, like massive, cool abilities firing off and things doing this. And that's not Horizon. Horizon is very tactful. It's very tactful combat. It's like, I'm going to hide in the bush and wait for this. Yeah, and things like that. And that's not going to be conducive to a Korean style MMO game. So, but I mean, they could change it up. I don't know. NC Soft has done all kinds of weird games. I mean, they killed off that one that I thought was going to be pretty interesting. The MMO RTS one that they were going to do, that massive multiplayer RTS game they were going to do a while back. What was that one called? It died. I don't remember why it died, but they just like killed it off. Man, what was the name of that one? I can't even remember now, but it was basically like Command and Conquer style game, but an RTS where groups of people took over landscapes and things like that. But I can't remember what it was. I'm even trying to find it and I can't find it right now. Oh man, I can't. But it's like I'm lost on it right now. But they were creating an MMO RTS that didn't see the light of day. So,
I believe is it Project G?
G for go away.
Gone, baby, gone.
For gone, yeah. I agree though with Pat. As far as NC Soft games, they are very Korean MMO, and like he said, that is a genre. I've played my fair share of Korean MMOs, and while they are flashy and they are bombastic and all that stuff, they also are very boring. If you love to just do nothing but grind for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, then go play one, because you will be able to grind your heart out. Now, that doesn't say that I haven't played a ton of them and I haven't sat there and grinded my heart out before and gotten pretty far in quite a few of them. But Korean MMOs for me are very hit or miss. Some of them aren't bad because they do mix in other things that do kind of mix up the grind. So if they're able to do that with Horizon, then it might not be too bad. But if it's your typical Korean MMO where it's very grindy and that's about all it's got going for it, then it's going to lose its bluster. And that's what I was saying about, one, I'll believe it when I see it, but also two, I'm with Pat. I don't see how this game conforms into an MMO, right? It just based on what it is. Now you could take granted, right? And people might say, well, you can take pretty much anything and convert it into an MMO. Sure. You could take any sort of property and make an MMO out of it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to. Yeah, you could. I mean, it doesn't even have to follow it, right? It doesn't have to follow like the gameplay. Like Pat was saying, it follows, Horizon follows Aloy, but they could make this Horizon MMO like 100 years before Aloy ever came around, right? Before she was ever born or, constructed or whatever. And this is like the fall of, like the beginnings or the middle of the fall of man, right? Where there still are some cities that are still intact, like big skyscrapers and stuff that haven't fallen yet, right? And stuff like that. And that's where this takes place. So they could do various things like that. So could they make an MMO out of it? I think they could. The question for me is, do I want them to? And I would say no, I don't want them to.
I would be fine with it, but I'm not a big MMO guy, but I do like the world of Horizon. So I just don't like what, like Pat said, if it's, based on if it's built for a PC and a phone, it's going to play like crap, and it's going to be a money trap because most of those combos are anyways. I don't know. I don't think I want to see it, but I could see a really interesting world around it. Not Resident Evil, but I do see an interesting world around it. But I love the ideal of what you said, No Dick, it being based at the start of the fall, or like the mid part of the fall of humanity and stuff. That could be really interesting. You could play as Aloy's great granny or something. I don't
know. Yeah. There's still skyscrapers still standing. Cities are still not all of them are destroyed yet. How it ends, but
I guess you could play the fall of civilization MMO. I don't know.
Oh my God, you get to play as the dinosaurs. Everybody just runs around eating people. That'd be cool. Dino Crisis, the MMO.
There you go. I mean, you could make it. You could.
Would
you want them to? No. But they could.
Can't even get a damn real
yeah, they won't even make a new Dino Crisis. They turned Parasite Eve into a MMO. I'm going to flip my lid.
Everybody, just 500 Parasite Eve characters running around touching butts.
Right. Yeah. What surprised me about MMOs, if I'm being honest, is the obvious genres that never make it. Like, and it could be part of the IP owners, but like I always thought Warhammer 40K would make a perfect MMORPG because you have Chaos, Space Marines, you have Space Marines, you have Legion, you have all these different races and classes within the races. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. And the only MMO that I remember is the Warhammer fantasy style one, and that one was, in my opinion, was complete garbage. I played the crap out of it, and I was like, could never find a reason to keep playing it once I leveled up, besides trying out a different class. But I think somebody like WoW needs to make, it's outside of their genre, but a company needs to make a WoW style Warhammer 40K game. I mean, that to me just makes perfect sense in an MMO universe, but it's not going to happen.
But there's some genres,
Games Workshop,
some worlds that don't work that should work for an MMO, like Lord of the Rings. They've got.
I think Lord of the Rings problem is the developer, because I think Lord of the Rings would make a perfect MMO. It's just the developer that has it.
The characters.
Looks
they
like
have a Lord of the Rings
every
MMO,
but it's a bomb.
I mean, but it's still active.
But that's because of the world of.
It's the lore that keeps people involved.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a bad MMO, or at least it wasn't.
No. It's still not bad. It's just long in the tooth and it looks old and it needs to be revamped. And I think that they need to pull a WoW move and say, we're releasing an expansion, and the expansion is giving the game a graphics overhaul, and it's getting a complete overhaul. It needs a facelift. It needs a tummy tuck, needs Botox, needs all that stuff, it just needs an overhaul because it looks old and it plays old.
Maybe it needs a Final Fantasy, and you desolation of smog
hit the meteor
across the whole damn place.
Smaug just desolates it, and then we come back to right after Smaug.
Fredo ate beans,
potatoes.
All
I have to say is bring back Matrix Online. That's it.
You're just a sick bastard.
And next he says he's going to want all points APB back.
APB is still out there, I think. You can still play that game.
Is it really? I thought that was shut down.
No,
it's what? Perfect world for an RPG. The Smurfs. MMO.
Smurf.
Everybody plays Gargamel.
There's only one.
Is it Azrael? Everybody
only one
play Azrael.
Only one player can play the female Smurf.
And you're going to be sore. All right. You guys have anything else about Horizon MMORPG?
Just don't.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but the mobile thing scares the hell out of me.
I'd say make something different. I'd say just don't. Yeah. Just say no.
All right. You heard these gentlemen's opinions. What are yours? Do you think the world could make an interesting MMORPG? Do you want them to go for it? Or do you want them to just say no, like Nick said? I agree with Pat. Anything that has to do with the phone is usually garbage, unless it's Peter Pick. So, but let us know what you think. Tell us, are you, or is Nick right? Could Resident Evil really make a great MMORPG? And who would you want to develop it? Let us know what you think about the genre itself. And don't forget to hit the notifications, hit that like, hit that subscription, and we'll see you next time. See ya.